What's going on, and welcome to the last lesson in the Metabolic Dominion series. In today's lesson, I'm going to be bringing everything together when it comes to your nutrition, and also I'll talk about different lifestyle protocols and just overall completing the approach that you can undergo to really restore order to your body. And then at the end, I have a little gift for you. And yeah, let's get into it. Just to summarize, so far, I've introduced the series. We talked about hormones control everything. I mentioned the top foods you should be eating, the top foods you should be avoiding. I gave you a simple method to track your hormones with 2 measurements that you can do right now at home. And then I went over different micronutrients and the metabolic power just to fix micronutrient deficiencies. And like I said today, I'll be going over bringing everything together. And by the way, if you're new to the series, I highly recommend you start with lesson 1. There's a playlist, Metabolic Dominion playlist, and you can get started. Or if you want to skip ahead, I'm going to leave a link down below. You can download the free ebook. It's completely free and you can get started, or get it to continue with the series as I'm going through it. So, Metabolic Dominion Part 7, Restore Your Hormones Daily. Proverbs 1:5, a wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsel. So your hormonal health is not a mystery, it's a rhythm. If you follow the right daily structure with the right foods and habits, your body knows what to do. Like, for context, I'm 26 years old and have a full head of hair. I feel good, I sleep well, I sleep very good energy levels, good mental health, all of those things. And maybe for the older guys, you might be, you're young, but just most young guys, and I've been working with clients for the last 6 over years, and guys when they're 17, 18, 19, 20, they don't have any of those things. They're losing their hair. They have no energy, no sex drive. They can't put on muscle. They're overweight. And they're apparently in their peak youth, right? This is where they should feel their best, right? So now tell me, if this is how you feel at your peak, imagine how you'll feel if you don't do anything about it and you continue on. You'll feel extremely bad. So when it comes to these things, it's not a mystery. I'm a walking example, and so are my clients and people who have followed the teachings that I'm giving, that it's actually quite simple. It's designed how God intended it to be, for you to thrive, right? That you actually feel well. So if you do the right things, there's no mystery. There's no, like, maybe in another week, maybe in another month, sometimes you get results, sometimes you don't. With the things that I teach, you have the confidence of the right plan. There's no second guessing. And if you are not getting results, it's probably because you're doing something wrong. And this is not like a cult, or like you see all these millionaire guys. So if you're not a millionaire following my course, it's your fault. But it's genuinely quite simple because it's measurable as well. You can apply those things. You can see the changes with your temperature, with your heart rate and things like that. And of course, not everyone is the same. When someone asks me, what should I do? I always tell them, how long is a rope? Every rope is different and you need to apply certain things. So the things that I'm giving in this Metabolic Dominion series is the foundation, the simplicity. And at the end, I'm going to provide you with a tool that you can add some specificity if you need more help, if you need more guidance, accountability, and things like that. But yeah, let's continue. So eat to build hormones. So prioritize daily, like getting dairy in for the calcium, so like milk, cheese, yogurt. Then getting in proper amino acids from protective amino acids like gelatin or bone broth or collagen even. Getting your carbohydrates from sweet fruits and easily digestible carbohydrates that are filled with B vitamins, electrolytes and are easy to digest and have polyphenols that boost your protective hormones like orange juice, ripe fruits, honey. Then we have other protein sources that are very easily digestible and good for you, like shellfish, whitefish, eggs. And then other carbohydrates, if you want more, starches for comfort, and if you just like those things, make sure you eat those things with like coconut oil or butter. So like salted potatoes, white potatoes, and white rice, like jasmine rice. And your fat intake coming from like coconut oil, butter, ghee. So prioritizing those daily. And most importantly, because you can be eating all of these foods, but if you have these in your routine, you're gonna feel it, right? I see this all the time with guys. They're like, oh, I'm following all the approved foods, but they're like eating all of these problematic foods, and it's like it's like a saying, the red flags you overlook at the start are the deal breakers at the end. Like, if you're not avoiding those things, these are gonna be the deal breakers to your health, right? So you want to remove those things to allow these things to function in an optimal state. So avoiding vegetable oils, so polyunsaturated fats, canola, soy, flax, sunflower, any other polyunsaturated fats. Avoiding nuts, seeds, legumes, soy, and whole grains, raw kale, spinach, or other glycogenic greens, alcohol, fake health foods or heavy processed items, fermented soy, miso, tempeh, natto, things that are like anti-androgenic, like licorice, mint, green tea, and also paying attention to how certain foods affect you, like all these gums, additives, and all of those things. Like, pay attention to those things. And here are some lifestyle protocols that you can implement. So daily rhythm to support metabolism. So this is more when you're in a detrimental state. So eating every 3 to 4 hours. So the healthier you are, the longer you can go without food. Hence why when you're a kid, you can sleep 9, 10, 11, 12 hours and you feel good. And the worse health you have, you wake up at 3 a.m. and you think you're getting a revelation from God, but in reality, your liver glycogen stores are being depleted and you're in complete darkness, and you think the shadows are talking to you, but in reality, you're just in a very high cortisol serotonergic state and you're extremely pessimistic. So any variable in your environment, you look at it from the cup is half empty rather than half full. And fixing this by healing your liver, which you do by giving your body the nutrients to do so. Think about it. You have a scar. For it to heal, you need to give it time. If you keep ripping off the scab, it's not going to heal. And fasting and eating problematic foods, you're ripping the scab. So you want to give your body food, nutrients to heal. And you can go from 1 hour to 2 hours, 3, 4, 5 without eating food. I know there's an experiment where Ray Pete talked about this, how there was individuals that had regular nightmares, and the scientists or whoever was doing the experiment timed exactly when they had the nightmares, and it was like every hour and a half. And what they did, they set an alarm every hour and 20 minutes right before the stress response would kick in to have some glucose, salt, and after some time they could go longer and longer without needing to do that. And nightmares are usually, well, they are from a place of liver glycogen stores being depleted, the cortisol, adrenaline increase. But while you're in that dream state, those hormones create like a nightmare, like a pessimistic environment, right? And when you're young, you just have the nightmare, you wake up, you get back into rhythm. But some people wake up and they're in that state while they're awake, and they're pessimistic, they're paranoid, anxious, and all of those things. So you need to give your body nutrients to heal itself. So don't skip meals. Each one should include carbs, protein, and salt. I have a video on my YouTube channel on protein. I highly recommend you check it out because it goes deeper into how to structure your protein, because protein is insulinogenic and it can drop your blood sugar. Like eggs, for example, like I don't recommend having like eggs first thing in the morning or right before you go to sleep, because it can drop your blood sugar and you're very sensitive during those times. So I recommend checking out that video. So no fasting or ketogenic diet, which is 80% fats, 20% protein and 0 carbohydrates. And it's just not optimal. The best state your body is in is when it's using carbohydrates for fuel. When you look at young people versus old people, young people and old people can metabolize fats at the same rates or as well, but kids can metabolize carbohydrates extremely well versus old people can't, because carbohydrate metabolism is from a protective state, and the healthier your system is, the better it is at it. So yeah, that's that. And avoid fasting, it ties back into this. Start your day with warmth. So eat within 30 minutes of waking and get sunlight exposure, red light, just keeping your body warm. Even sleep, wearing a hat, gloves, socks to keep the extremities warm. Next, salt your food and juice. Sodium lowers adrenaline and supports adrenaline resilience. Next, go to sleep before 10:30 p.m., especially if you're in a stressed state, because every, I believe, half an hour you're awake while it's nighttime, cortisol increases by 15%, because darkness is a stressor to the body. So darkness and coldness is a stressor, and deep sleep is protection against it. Hence why in some cases the stressor is so much for some individuals, they can't sleep at night, but during the day they can sleep easily and they nap throughout the day. But sleeping during the night in deep sleep protects you against it. Likewise, why during the winter people age the most, because that's when there's no sunlight, it's darkness, X, Y, and Z. So, and if you are staying up later, having incandescent light, having warmth around you, back in the days you'd have a fire, which would be like an incandescent light, will give off warmth, right? Because it's protective. Avoid screens or blue light 1 to 2 hours before sleep. So blue light blocking glasses, things like that. Next, get sunlight before noon, at least 15 minutes of direct sunlight with glasses or sunscreen, because it's protective. It increases the production of protective hormones. There's studies on this, how exposure to powerful sunlight in the morning in depressed men increase testosterone levels greatly. I can't remember exactly what it was, but light is very important, especially for vitamin D and just light overall. Breathe through your nose, reduces sympathetic stress and supports CO2 balance. Funny enough, people with bigger noses have better CO2 retention. And then retention of CO2 is good because for cell respiration, which is a protective metabolic rate to take place, you need an exchange between oxygen and CO2, which is called the Burr and Haldane effect, which is there's oxygen, you breathe it in, and there's a CO2 in your body already, and you exchange it. That's why you breathe out CO2. So the oxygen then goes into the bloodstream, and to get into the cell, there has to be an exchange as well. And then the CO2 comes out, and then there's an exchange. And when the metabolism is at its peak state, well, the most protective carbohydrates, carbon dioxide. So from eating carbohydrates, you produce carbon dioxide within the cell. That's why pay attention to this. When you have a good meal with carbohydrate, you'll notice you can breathe deeper. You can actually breathe properly. And then you relax and you notice all your body relaxes because cells produce CO2. And then from CO2, there's that exchange happening and it just is protective, right? But when you're doing like exercise that you're hyperventilating, you're excreting all the CO2 and it causes a stress response. This is more prominent when you're in a more detrimental state. For the young guys, you might not even pay attention to this. And the more stressed out, bad state you're in, you'll notice these things. So pay attention to this. Walk or move gently daily. Favor low intensity movement, no excessive cardio. This is especially good to get just the body moving. Also good for the lymphatic system because the circulatory system, the one that your veins and the blood, so the heart pumps it around the body, right? But your lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. So going on a walk, getting some movement, it's very good. Also, it's dopaminergic when you go outside, take a different route, see different things. It's good for you to get outside. There's a lot of space, things like that. Listen to some good music. I know I've talked about how there's studies how music lowers testosterone levels, which is true, but the context matters. This is where you get into when you understand all these variables. A single study, you can understand it from a different lens, because testosterone can be elevated from the estrogen system, which is driven by stress. Hence why some people, well, a lot of people who are in a stress state, they're more lustful, they masturbate, they watch porn, because it's a self-medicating thing. So it's driven by stress. And if you're listening to music, which is self-medicating, which lowers the stress, on paper, testosterone decreases, but it could be decreasing because you're actually lowering the stress. So it's decreasing the stress pathway of testosterone increase. But from anecdotal anecdotes from stories, depending on the type of music, like classical music, very dopaminergic, or just good music overall, how do you feel after, can be good. Listening to scripture, things like that. But yeah, I'm going on a tangent. And yeah, just to summarize, track daily signals. Use a thermometer and a timer. It takes 2 minutes. Morning before rising, oral temperature, or just under your armpit. And just for context for the guys, this was the Celsius for this, and this is for that. And you can do this in the first thing in the morning. And then you can do it after breakfast to check, is this temperature driven by stress or protective hormones? And likewise with this, before lunch, after lunch, or midday dinner, whatever you're doing. And just pay attention to those variables. Check out the previous videos on more context. If your pulse or temperature is low, eat more sugar, salt, and protein. And then, just for foundationally speaking, which hormones to build pregnenolone. I've made videos on this. Progesterone, DHEA, testosterone, active thyroid, T3, not just thyroid, because you can increase your T4 and it's converting to reverse T3, which is lowering your metabolic rate. You want to prioritize active thyroid, T3. Lower estrogen, cortisol, serotonin, prolactin. I've made videos on serotonin, highly recommended. Hormonal strength is built from energy, and energy comes from food, light, and rest, not stress. And here's the gift. To apply these principles and to be in a community with other guys or other people that are taking on this journey, I have a Brotherhood Community. I know before I had a paid to join or the 7-day free trial, but right now the community is completely free. So you get access to a community, you even get an access to get on an onboarding call with me. You can ask me questions. You can just a simple introduction and a value-packed newsletter. This journey isn't about doing more. It's about returning to what works. The Brotherhood is a private community of men who are restoring structure to their bodies, naturally, biblically, and biologically. Women are welcome as well. There is some women as well. It's mostly for men, but the guys are very respectful. They're biblically, righteously founded, and come into alignment, restore order, reclaim energy. You're not alone. The Brotherhood, so school.com/brotherhood. So here's the community. You'll have a button there to join. That's my transformation. I don't know if you know Andrew Kirby. He recommended, he's in a lot of communities. He's like the head at the top of the school games with the owner of school.com. And he mentioned Increasing Testosterone Righteously by Alex Fedorsky. He recommends the Brotherhood Community. So for all the guys out there, that's the type of standards I uphold in the community. There's people all around the world in this community. There's a testimonial, and you can join and interact with the guys. And there's a search engine. So let's say you want to search something up. There's a lot of input on that. And there's a lot of input because the community has been up since 2022. So it's been up for a long time. If what you're looking for is not here, you can just make a simple post and ask questions, and the guys are respectful. They'll answer your questions. And yeah, it's completely free to join. And it's there for the guys who, they've got the ebook, they're implementing things, and it's just a community with people who are doing the same things. They have the same questions, they are into the same things, and they're on this journey as well. So the link is there. So it's school.com/brotherhood, free to join. And brotherhood is very important. I know when I was younger, I was like, oh, lone wolf kind of stuff, but it's important to be part of a community. This is one of the reasons for the logo. There's a method to the madness. Like when you see trees, they're in groups and all the roots are connected. And when the one tree undergoes a problems, it communicates to the other trees of what's happening, and they create antidote to protect themselves. And it's the same here with a proper community. Biblically speaking, Proverbs 27:17, iron and sharpened iron, so a man sharpened the countenance of his friends. So you sharpen each other. Proverbs 17:17, a friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. Hebrews 13:1, let brotherly love continue. And at the end of the ebook, there's a grocery list. This is something I used to always use. Right now, I remember everything on the top of my mind when I go to the shop. But when I got started, I would use something like this to buy the good stuff. And you can get the free ebook, ebook.fedursky.com. And at the very last page, you have this, or just take a screenshot right now. And yeah. So yeah, this is it. This is the end of the series. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully you got some value out of this, something you can implement into your life and start getting results, and finally get into that healing journey of actually feeling good, just feeling normal, I guess. Especially nowadays, people riddled with anxiety, stress, and all of those things. Like life is already hard enough. So you at least want the foundation, which is being healthy with yourself, being healthy to function on a daily basis. I remember when I was in a detrimental state, it's like you lost yourself. Your thoughts have a mind of their own. You can't function optimally. Like it's like you lost yourself. And the idea behind the ebook is to reclaim your energy, reclaim your health, and from a righteous lens. So yeah, that being said, hopefully you've enjoyed, and yeah, God bless, and I'll see you in the next videos. Peace.